Nine, eight, seven, six, five, four, three, two, one, go.
Salaam Alaikum. Mr. Moderator, our distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, our friends and our enemies.
Salaam Rasulullah wa ba'd. In the name of Allah, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon His last and final messenger. Family, friends, foes, haters, and hateettes, welcome back to the Feachaz. I greet you all in peace and love with no hatred in my heart. So before we begin, please like, please subscribe, and please share. As you know, we got a lot of haters up in here. So family, today's show is something I've never done before. I don't think I've ever done anything like this on the Feachaz, Family, I don't really deal much with Christian apologists. Like, never. And as a matter of fact, I think this is my first time doing it. As far as I can remember, I don't recall ever doing something like this before. And the reason that is that they're not serious people. Christian apologists, they are leeches and suckers of life, okay? They're like vampires, okay? Christian apologetics is really an extension of Orientalism, that old-time Orientalism, when Europeans wanted to, essentially bring a bad picture about Islam to Africans, right? So they made this whole entire science up, where they would go in what they call the Orient, like the Levant area or whatnot, right? And they would try to gather as much information about Muslims as possible in order to spin it in a way that will cause much division, right? And bring it back to Europe and have arguments against Islam, right? So it's like, you can say it started maybe just over a century ago, this type of science, right? Right? But apologetics is different, okay? Apologetics is Orientalism without scholarship, without research, right? Literally anyone off the street can become an apologist, okay? Apologetics is only about coming up with as many arguments as humanly possible against Islam, whether in good faith or not. And the majority of these arguments, as you know, they're not good faith arguments. They're clearly not. They're ridiculous. Some of the most ridiculous arguments against Islam you'll find apologetics making, and they never retreat ever, right? However, the main reasons I don't involve myself with these types is because, firstly, their business model, this whole entire ex-Muslim Christian apologetics type model, it cannot function at all without the participation of Muslims. Okay? This whole business model cannot function without the participation of Muslims. Y'all hearing me? That's the main point. And who are the types of Muslims that love to participate, thinking that they're in a good faith argument with the apologetics, which is the extension of Orientalism? Mostly immigrant Muslims, vast majority of immigrant Muslims. Okay, always trying to refute some YouTuber somewhere. Okay, right? Some YouTuber somewhere that was irrelevant, that Muslims willed into relevancy. People never heard of this person before, right? And all of a sudden, all the Muslims know who they is. Okay, that's the first thing. Okay, the second reason is because they're not scholars, they are not theologians, and they're not serious types. Which means if you're arguing with them, you will be sucked into an endless loop of circular arguments, like a whirlwind, like this. And you will spend your life like this because they're not people who are looking for answers or the truth. They are looking for a refutation. Okay? And in order for them to get big and make it into the apologetics hustle, right? They have to have as many clips against Muslims as possible. And there's no shortage of ignorant Muslims who think they don't read the. You're talking about Muslims who don't read the Quran, but that second somebody come and say something against Islam, they think they're qualified to go and defend it. Somebody make it make sense. And they go to these apologetics booths or whatnot, or these platforms and whatnot, and come up with some ridiculous arguments. You're talking to people who don't study Islam to begin with. They're not serious, and they get caught out with their pants down and their booties out, right, against these apologetic types, right? There's an aspect to the apologetic circles where we are now seeing the rise of these black apologetics, okay? Because the Christian apologetics have normally been, white folks, because that come from that Orientalist line. You hear me? They're from that Orientalism type thing, right? So this is a purely European and Western outlet in order to curb the spread of Islam, okay? So with the black apologetics, these are some of the most raccoonish characters you will ever find, okay? Absolutely raccoonish. Totally raccoonish. And these types, they are like when Malcolm X was talking about the house Negro and the field Negro, they will do anything, literally anything, to defend a zaddy. Okay, they are those type. Okay, and you're talking about people that when people have like a legit argument, they're gonna basically come up with some sort of, you know, research or whatnot. They'll be well researched. And these folks, the reason why they're like that is because they hate Islam more than they love the truth. I don't know why Allah created some people like this. He talked about this in the Quran, right? That there's some folks, they just going to naturally have this, you know, irrational hatred for Islam, and they make it their career to try to destroy Islam by any means necessary, with all kinds of insane arguments and whatnot, right? So the raccoon we talking about today is one of the, you could say, one of the main black apologists. Been in the apologetic scene for a long time. Okay, this Negro, right? He is called. What do you mean? Okay, he's been around for a very, very long time. He kind of curbed his apologetics hustle to get more into reaction videos about YouTubers and things of that nature, right? However, when this whole Israel Palestine thing kicked off, he could not help himself. He had to go back to his white supremacist roots and make some of the most outlandish, outrageous videos I have ever seen in a long, long, long time. You got to remember that these folks, they're not fueled by anything else but hatred. That's what fuels them. Y'all hearing me? They are fueled only by hatred. So you can see some of the titles that he's coming up with recently. Like if you look at some of the older videos, he kind of like taper off all of this what you call it stuff in the apologetic scenes, right? But his last how many videos? Okay, Hamas's goal was never freedom. Look at the people he's having on his channel. He's got the apostate prophet. He's got David Wood. David Wood of all, like, man, David Wood. Okay, he's got, and I hope he hops on tonight, man, because he could break it down for you even way better than I can, right? He's got Robert Spencer. These are the type of folks that he brings in to talk about Israel Palestine. Now, you would think that at this time, when it has been made clear to the world, whether or not you are pro-Israel, pro-Palestine, all of that is irrelevant, right? The point is that this is very clearly a humanitarian crisis, correct? It is very clearly the whole world is in shock that they are watching genocide televised and planned out, funded by the US government, carried out with very clear objective for genocide, with genocidal language being used unapologetically in public. Okay? You would think now that these fake Christians, instead of trying to add fuel to the dogma dumpster fire, that they would have some decorum about themselves and start getting out of the rhetoric business and trying to monetize and profiteer off of this Muslim Christian divide. And let's talk about the humanitarian crisis, which is now known as Israel Palestine. They can't do it. They can't do it. They have to use this opportunity to link Islam with terrorism. That's it. This is how these folks think. You're not talking about human beings here, okay? You're talking about devils clothed in human skin. The Christian apologetic. They're very demonic type people. They're not even real Christians, to be honest. Like if you watch some of these folks, they don't run their own churches. They don't have their own Bible study groups. Okay, they don't do any grassroots work in the community. All they do, their job is to spew hatred against Islam while being funded by the very same Zionist zaddies that they are defending today. Y'all hearing me? So, anyways, he had a lot of videos, and C.L. Edwards said they don't even attend church. They don't even attend church. They don't even attend church. These are the people that are speaking for Christianity now. It's like a joke, right? Ironically enough, your YouTubian elites are kind of doing the same type of thing, right? And they're kind of following that model. Y'all get me? Your YouTubian elites. But I digress. That's a different subject for a different day. We talking about the raccoons. We talking about the raccoons who are black apologetics. Every black Christian apologetic, I haven't seen not a single one who isn't a raccoon. Not a one. They do some of the most outlandish things, twitch and twirl and twerk for Zaddy. Okay? So anyways, we're going to watch a little bit of this video with the apostate prophet that he had up. Okay, I apologize first of all for putting that penis nose twerp apostate prophet in front of you all like that, right? But a man's got to do what a man's got to do. This is the only way we can get this video out there. Okay, we can't do it any other way. I am sorry. I am sorry. I apologize to the ladies and the children. Okay, I apologize to the sisters and family men out there for showing you this dude. Okay, but anyways, we are going to watch just a little bit. Just a little bit. Let me have a look here. Where is it? There we go. 1 second, y'all. Let me just get this going here. This is why I say they're ridiculous, right? If you want to know about the Israel Palestine conflict, or if you want to know about Hamas, for example, right? Is your first go-to move going to be to go to apostate prophet and ask him questions about Hamas? Like, I need to know who Hamas is. Let me find somebody who knows. I know. Apostate prophet. Is that the first thing you're going to do? Right? And of course, there is massive rhetoric and propaganda, of course, because coming from the Zionists, this is nothing new, right? However, the twitching and twirling and twerking was so ridiculous, right, that I just had to say something. So let's
Hamas's attempt to free Palestine, but they're misinformed. Freeing Palestine was never the goal of Hamas, despite what the media might tell you. The media is largely mistaken about what's going on, as well as the Islamic motivations of Hamas. So today, we're going to explain the true history and the real motivations of Hamas in their own words.
That's what he said. We are going to explain the true history and the motivations of Hamas in their own words, right? That's what he said.
Today, I'm joined by the apostate prophet. So AP, thanks for joining us. Now, a lot of people don't even understand who Hamas is. So let's start there. Who exactly is Hamas?
Hamas is an organization that was formed in the late 1980s as an Islamic jihadist movement. It is known as Islamic Resistance Movement, and in Arabic is then shortened as Hamas. So that's where the name comes from. And their goal has been from the very beginning simply to fight the Israeli state, which they do not recognize as an Israeli state, which they call the Zionist occupation. And
so we're going to start right there, okay? I really don't mean to nitpick, okay? But he is saying that Hamas, this is what he said. I didn't say it, right? Now, and the way that he worded it too, like words have what you call power, right? Look what he said.
Israeli state, which they do not recognize as an Israeli state, which they call the Zionist occupation.
He's saying that Hamas is calling Israel the Zionist occupation, correct? That's what he said. I didn't say it. Those are his words. I didn't say it. He is saying that Hamas is calling the Israeli state the Zionist occupation. Correct? So, apostate penis nose is saying that Hamas is saying this. So it's very clear that this dude thinks that somehow this alleged occupation started in the 80s somehow, and Hamas started making this claim all willy-nilly in the 1980s, when it's the very Zionists, they themselves are saying that this is a Zionist occupation. They're telling you that, yes, we are occupying this. What is the Sykes-Picot Agreement? Do y'all know what the Sykes-Picot Agreement is by any chance? You can't make this crap up. This is ridiculous. But this is why I say I don't deal with them like that, right? Because they're not serious people. It's not Hamas who said that the Zionists have occupied Israel. The Zionists are saying the Zionists are occupying Israel. They're telling you that. What's the Sykes-Picot Agreement? Okay? What's the Balfour Declaration? What is that? Y'all know what the Balfour Declaration? Y'all can look this stuff up. Sykes-Picot, S-Y-K-E-S, Picot, P-I-C-O-T. Okay? Sykes-Picot Agreement before World War II, I believe. 1907, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Right? Sykes-Picot Agreement. Right? A secret agreement between European countries to divvy up the Ottoman Empire. From there, you have the extension to the Sykes-Picot Agreement, which is called the Balfour Declaration, where these bankers got involved in 1917, right, for their support for these Europeans in World War I. The agreement essentially was that we, the Zionist Jews, because remember, the Zionism is something that started shortly before World War I. Okay, Europeans never had a good relationship with Jews in Europe. They're talking about people who have a history of going around stealing other people's land. They want to divvy up the Ottoman Empire now. World War I happens. Who helped them win World War I? It was these Jews, these banking types. You know, Lionel Walter Rothschild, the Rothschilds and stuff. Okay? You're talking about the Rothschilds. Okay? The Balfour Declaration, it was issued with continued efforts by Chaim Weizmann and Nahum Sokolow, right? Zionist leaders in London, okay? What were they doing? They asked in this agreement for the reconstitution of Palestine as a Jewish national home. Did Hamas make this in 1917? Go look it up. Balfour Agreement. B-A-L-F-O-U-R, or Balfour Declaration. You don't have to believe me. Any honest person who has an inkling of time, if they want to look up the establishment of Israel and how this is what you're going to see. These are some of the first things you're going to see. Hamas didn't say that. The very Zionist Jews who you're coddling and fondling their sacks and stuff, they are telling you, yeah, we are occupying Palestine through the Balfour Agreement. They're telling you this. In 1948, after the Balfour Agreement and after World War II, what happened in Palestine? What was a Nakba? Y'all know what the Nakba is? Look that up. Let me try to find it for y'all. 1 second. Nakba, 1 second. I mean, this is all basic history. Nakba. Look up the Nakba. That 1948 is when Israel was established by force through massacring Palestinians. And we're not talking about combatants here. You're talking about peasants and farmers. They showed up with weapons like they do, like these Europeans do. They showed up like they do. And this is the big problem I had with some of these Muslims. They can see it with Palestine, they can't see it with anybody else. But that's a different story for a different day. This going into other people's lands and taking it by force, the Jews, the Zionist Jews, were not the first ones to do it. They just wanted Europeans to back them up when they did it. That's it. Europeans were perfecting this practice all throughout Africa, all throughout North America, all throughout South America, just waltzing into people's land and taking it over by force. 1948 ain't no different. But they had already been doing that for the better part of 250 years already. He just skipped. He just said, you know what? We're going to skip over all that. Let's just skip all over all that stuff. Let's bypass, 75 years of history and go right into the 80s when the resistance movement called Hamas. And let me tell you something, I ain't no fan of Hamas. I am not a fan of Hamas. Okay? But I, being apostate prophet's penis nose, if I'm going to start pointing fingers at Hamas before I point fingers of the people who are telling you that, yes, we're occupying this land violently. Y'all hearing me? All of this is something that you can research. If you take 5 minutes, all the stuff will come up. You don't have to be biased either. Just look up how Israel was started. That's it. That's all you have to look up. These European Jews, who again, they themselves were involved in aiding and embedding and helping the kidnapping of millions of Africans. They were a major part in setting up the insurance companies and the stock markets for slave trades in Brazil and, of course, America and the West Indies, in Colombia. There's the Jews. They did all this stuff. We're just going to skip all that. We're going to skip all of that and say, that Hamas, they're the ones who are claiming that Israel is occupying Palestine. They. You see what I'm saying? They're not serious people. They're just not. How can you say something like this serious? But anyways, the whole point is that in reality, spending our time, wasting our time refuting these types is kind of a mute point. Allah is handing you your enemy on a silver platter. He's saying, here, does it need to be any more clear for you that these are your enemies? How much more clear can you be? Y'all hear me? Let's watch a little bit more.
And to eliminate it and to establish one great Arab Islamic state.
People might not be aware that all of Palestine is not in support of Hamas, and that includes some people on the Gaza Strip as well as the West Bank. So with that being said, how does Hamas differ from the Palestinians on the West Bank?
Well, first off, according to the latest data that we have, in Gaza, so in the Gaza Strip, the majority of people, or at least more than 50%, support Hamas. I believe in the West Bank, the support is lower and is actually less than half. But still, when Hamas does something in the name of the Palestinians, people still come together because they represent the Palestinian people. They differ from the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank, which is ruled by Fatah, a secular organization, in that their own nature is entirely about Islam. And in their charter, they make it abundantly clear that their goal is to unite the Muslim community. And to abide by the laws set forth by Allah found in the Quran and all of that. And from the very beginning up until now, they always rejected the secular organizations and secular parties as contrary to what they are supposed to go for, which is an Islamic state and an Islamic community. So that's where they very much differ. And it is known in their name. It is Islamic Resistance Movement.
What are the Islamic motivations behind Hamas's actions that we've seen unfold in the last week or so?
So, as stated in their covenant from the beginning, their goal is to abide by Islamic principles and aim for Islamic jihad. And specifically, they cite Quran verses such as that the Muslims and the Jews, or the Muslims and the disbelievers, are enemies, and that it is a duty and a prophecy and a promise for the Muslims by Allah to eventually defeat and get rid of the Jews. So the entire they present this entire idea that Jews are the eternal enemy and a Jew is a Jew, regardless if there is a conflict or not.
For those that don't believe this, and
this is where we want to pause right here. Okay, I want to just get to that part right there. Okay, because here we have this funny looking Negro right here, right? Christian apologist, right? And this funny looking ex-Muslim. Right? And I want you to listen to what he said. The Muslims believe, right?
The Muslims and the Jews, or the Muslims and the disbelievers, are enemies, and that it is a duty and a prophecy and a promise for the Muslims by Allah to eventually defeat and get rid of the Jews.
Okay, so that's how he presented it, correct? See, raccooning is a mental illness. Raccooning is a mental illness. You are supposed to be a Christian. I mean, that's what Christian apologetics is about, right? You are supposed to be a Christian, correct? You invite an ex-Muslim to teach the other Christians about what the Muslims believe, correct? An ex-Muslim, mind you, and you're a Christian. The ex-Muslim is telling you that the Muslims believe that the Jews are the eternal enemy, correct? And on top of all that, you black. You black. This is the whole thing I wanted y'all to see here. Okay? Muslims believe in Jesus, correct? We are forced by Allah. We are, obliged by Allah to believe in Jesus. Yes or no? We are obliged by Allah to believe in Jesus. Allah tells us in the Quran to go and call these Christians to Allah, to Islam. They will listen to you. Things of this nature, right? In the Quran, right? I can't remember. You know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay, somebody could put the ayat in the chat if you want, right? What do the Jews, that the ex-Muslim, what is this group called ex-Muslim? Usually people tell you their belief system, right? They will tell you, I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I'm an atheist. There's a whole group called ex-Muslims. What is an ex-Muslim? Why don't you tell us what you believe? You believe in ex-Islam? You can't say atheist? Do Muslims run around talking about I'm an ex-Christian, like the converts and stuff? I'm an ex-Hindu. That's these folks because they are running a hustle. You know what I mean? But the point is, what do the Jews believe about Jesus? Peace be upon him. Right? These poor, innocent Jews. What do they believe? And furthermore, what do these Zionist Jews, how is their treatment of black folk? The same Jews that you are coddling today. The same Jews, right? Remember, this is a humanitarian crisis. They are taking the time out to make it an ideological war. Okay, let's go there then. You want to go low? Let's go low. Let us go low. Who wants to know what these Israelites are doing to black folk? Not these Israelites. These Ashkenazi European Jews are doing to black folk in the homeland of Israel, which they have admittedly occupied. Admittedly occupied. They ain't afraid to say it. And taken back. Right? What are they doing? Watch this, y'all. Let's watch this, y'all. Y'all ain't ready for this. Watch this.
Vicky Dillon here for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to give the broadcast a big thumbs up and share. When you do this, it makes it more likely that other folks will know that we're here. And how many of you all know that the collective Black voice is the counter voice to the oppressive classes' media apparatus? So you help to strengthen that, and you make us a formidable force when you share and support networks such as this. Thank you so much. Family, I came across this very shocking story out of Israel. I want you to watch this brief clip of a couple of parents. These folks are labeled in multiple ways: African Hebrews, African Hebrew Israelis, African Hebrew Israelites. They just want to be a part of the land of Israel. They're not coming there to work against them, to threaten anyone, but yet and still folks that have lived there for many years, that have children and families there, who have been an extraordinary benefit to the land, are receiving shocking, seemingly capricious deportation threats. In addition to what you just heard, listen to something that this community leader, Ahmadel Ben Hedua, who's a community spokesperson, just said. He says they can make all kinds of exceptions and creative immigration rules that allow for Ukrainians and others to come in. But when it comes to those of African ancestry, we seem to be the target of very, very crafty wording and loopholes that define us on the outside. And this is a form of our earliest arrival in Israel. He said in 1969, on our arrival here, we were basically accepted. I say basically accepted under the law of return, because it was very loose. It wasn't something that was rigid like that. So family, this war, this Ukrainian-Russian war that has just upset so many of us here in the United States and around the world, many of our brothers and sisters on the continent of Africa are feeling bullied by Ukrainian leadership, because they have not just solely taken their side and cut off our relationships with Russia, even though they're calling for peace on all sides for the most part. But now you're hearing Black Israelis, African Israelis decry deportation threats, and there's not, as far as we can see, a real solid reason for that. We're going to stay on top of that so that we can give you the latest, most accurate information. But I wanted to share.
Did y'all hear that? Oh, that's not the worst of it. That's just the beginning. That was 4 months ago. Okay. 1 second. That is not the worst of it. We just getting started. These are the folks that this Negro is coddling and protecting because he hates us. See, they hate Islam more than they love the truth. That's what you got to understand. Brother Nuri, he said it, what they believed. The Jews believe that, and it says that in the Talmud, it says that he is boiling in excrement for eternity. This is what they believe, the Jews, that he's protecting, that he invited the atheist, or rather the ex-Muslim, right, to a show to make an argument against the Muslims and the Jews. Meanwhile, we have almost a 1,400-year resume of protecting Jews in Muslim lands. Not like the Christians did. What were the Christians doing in the Crusades? What were the Christians doing in the Spanish Inquisition? What were the Christians doing during the Holocaust? Was that the Muslims? Amazing. Amazing. So in Israel today, they are deporting black Jews. And that is not even the worst of it. 1 second, y'all. Because he wanted to be ideological. Okay, let's be ideological. Let's do it. We're just getting warmed up. Okay? We're just getting warmed up. You have not seen the worst of it yet. Okay? Israel admits Ethiopian women were given birth control shots. Did y'all hear that? Israel admits that Ethiopian women were given birth control shots. Close this down. Ethiopian women in Israel given contraceptive without consent. This is The Guardian. Israel's health ministry is investigating claims that Ethiopian women are being injected with controversial contraceptive without their knowledge and or consent. Thousands of Ethiopian women were said to be receiving shots in Depot Provera every 3 months in Israeli clinics. Were the Palestinians doing that? Were the Palestinians? You got this black. You see, this is crazy, man. This is how Christian apologetics are. Anything, it doesn't make a difference. Do anything, including throw your own black people underneath the bus, as long as it protects Zaddy in them. These folks. And they have the nerve. They have the caucasus audacity, the caucasity, to say that it's the Muslims that are making the Jews the enemies of themselves. Like, what is she talking about right now? Are you saying that these are your friends? What do you mean? Are you saying that these are your friends? These are the friends of Christianity. Is that what you're telling us right now? Are you saying that these are your allies? These folks. But it gets worse. It doesn't. Look, y'all. Look. You are talking about a people who have been mastering colonization for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. The Europeans couldn't stand Jews. They couldn't stand them, but they had to work with them because Jews had all, the organization, the wealth, the money, whatever. Y'all hearing me? The Crusades. What did the Christians do to the Jews during the Crusades? When Palestine and that region was opened by the Muslims during the time of the Sahaba, do you know they had peace all the way up until the Crusades? They were ruled by Muslims. When the Christians came and they took over Palestine during that time, those Jews at that time were begging for the Muslims to come back. Okay? They're begging for the Muslims to come back. The Christians were slaughtering Jews left, right, and center. This is like well-known history. Well-known history. Okay? You're talking about these Europeans. These colonizers, very demonic history. Very, very demonic. These are like some. They're not human beings, man. They're something else. Okay. They came in. They did what they did. Muslims came back, under Salahuddin al-Ayyubi or whatnot, took it back, and they've been living in peace ever since through the Ottomans until, again, the plot to divvy up the Ottoman Empire from the Sykes-Picot, whatchamacallit, declaration, what we talked about earlier, right? And I believe it's 1907. One of y'all can check it up. Sykes-Picot Agreement, okay? Sykes, Sykes, Picot, Picot Agreement. Okay? They wanted to divide the Ottoman Empire up. During this time, there was much talk of nationalism. Okay? And after World War I, that's when you started seeing nation states. And then World War II basically divided up the lands of the world to what we know today as these countries that we see today. Divided up by who? Did the Muslims do it? Did the Africans do it? Who did it? Europeans. They did it. And they were proud and happy to say, yes, we did this. And the Balfour Declaration is no different. The Ashkenazi European Jews were very happy and proud, and up until this day, they're still happy and proud to say, yes, we are occupying this land. There are so many videos, like so many. If anybody wants to take a look, what they doing to Palestinians, you don't have to look far. Mainstream media can only push the pro-Zionist narrative so much in 2023. It's not 1983 anymore, where they had complete and total control of the media. You have social media nowadays, which is giving a voice to pretty much anybody with a camera. But what I don't understand, what behooves me, what is befuddling me, is how a Negro, okay, takes a pro-Zionist position. That is mind-boggling. That is like how you do that. And believe me, it gets worse. Hold on one second. Let me just try to find something for you. 1 second, yo. One second, yo. Try to find it for you. I don't know if I can find it. But pretty much all of Africa has taken a pro-Palestinian stance. All the global South, except for India, because there's no dictator that India doesn't like, has taken a pro-Palestinian stance. Y'all seeing? But it's what's mind-boggling, what is befuddling, what is confusing, is how you have a Negro taking a very firm position in protecting an anti-black and anti anything else other than Jewish, mind you, government. Right? They said that in the formation of Israel, it's going to be, you know, Jews, right? That's what they said in the Balfour Agreement. We want our own land, our own nation. When the nations were getting divvied up, okay, we want our own Jewish nation too. That was the whole point, right? We helped y'all win World War I, World War II. Give us our land. We tired. We tired of you. You tired of us. Okay, that was the deal. Y'all hearing me? We tired of you. Y'all are tired of us. Give us our own land. Sure, we'll give you some land. Why don't we just take this land over here, this little piece of parcel of land, away from these farmers and these shepherds and these peasants over in this part of the Turkish Empire, right? It'll serve mind you, at first they suggested Uganda, okay? At first they suggested Uganda, and those Jews were like, oh, hell no. Hell no, we won't go to Uganda. Okay? We want Palestine. That's what they said. And Israel serves a dual type of purpose, right? First of all, you got to understand the dynamics of Israel is that as long as the dynamic is the way it is, it serves as a destabilizing mechanism in the Middle East. Okay? You have Egypt there, bordering Gaza. If you look at the maps, you see Egypt. They're getting paid by United States to make sure that no Palestinians are able to escape Gaza. Okay, that's their job, the Egyptians. Okay, you got, I think it's what is it, and what's this, Jordan or something? Jordan, right? So basically, it's all these Muslim countries are surrounded by. Okay, then you got the Dead Sea. So the Palestinians are essentially living in an open-air prison, right? It's a apartheid system that was perfected by white colonists, particularly Westerners like America, whatnot, and it's a copy-paste system. This has been done to black folk in America, in Brazil, in Colombia. The same type of system. Where even up until this day, if you go to Brazil, you'll see areas called favelas. What's favelas? Favelas are where all the Negroes, the slaves, the ex-slaves, and the indigenous live. They all live over there. And the laws are designed to make sure they stay in that poor, dilapidated state. That is apartheid. Same thing with South Africa. South Africa, practiced apartheid for many, many years. Okay. And the level of violence and extremity basically tells you a lot about the ruling class. But the point is that the Zionist European has used the Holocaust as a crutch and a talking point so they can be perpetuators of a Holocaust. That should be the talk, correct? The talk should be centered around human life and justice, protecting children. Israel has cut off water, has cut off travel, has cut off food. Does any of this sound familiar, black folk? Do you know some people here in the West who water was cut off from them, who food was cut off from them, who movement was cut off from them? We know this very, very well. We know this very, very well. Okay. And on top of that, it's being televised. They out here talking about Hamas. Like the biggest problem in Israel today is Hamas. Hamas ain't the biggest problem. They a problem. They a problem. But the reason why they talk about Hamas is so they can coddle their Zionist paymasters. That's it. That's it. One second. I put the wrong link in the chat. One second, y'all. Let me get this going here. I put the wrong link. Let me put the other link. Okay, that's the right link. All right. So if anybody wants to hop on, all right. So let me just try to find this thing. One second, y'all. One second, y'all. Where are we? Over here. One second. Let me see. Do I have it? I don't know if I have it. One second. I don't think I have it. Let me try to find it. Here we go. One second. So we saw how Israel wants to deport these Africans, right? We saw how Israelis are force sterilizing Jewish women because they're black. Because they are black. Then I want to show y'all something. One second. Let me just pull this up. See if you can find it. So, bare minimum, let's say that you don't like Muslims like you don't. Like, we know you don't like Muslims. We understand that, right? We understand you got a problem with Muslims and stuff. Okay? We get it. You hate yourself some Muslims. How in the hell Cool J do you explain this? Okay, let me just put this in the screen. One second, y'all. Okay, Victor, just hold up for me and I'll put you in a minute. Just give me a moment, okay, bro? Just 1 second. Let me get this here. Share the screen. How do you explain this? Where are we? I just had it. There we go. Israel's unwanted African migrants. For nearly a year, Israel has been offering African migrants cash and chance to go live with what is supposed to be a safe haven for a third country in a third country. But BBC has spoken to two men who say that they were abandoned as soon as they got off the plane. You cannot make this stuff up. This is 2016. Israel's offering their black African migrants, listen, we'll pay you to go live somewhere else. We're tired of seeing you darkies. Africans are like, okay, we'll go. They go, they got off the plane, and that's it. They're like, see ya. We don't want to be here. You cannot make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up. Here come these Negroes caping for that stuff. Like, how you do that? How do you do that? If you don't like Muslims, okay, don't like Muslims. We don't really care that much. We ain't trying to force you to like us. Y'all hearing me? But how do you sign off on that stuff? That is the $1 million question. How do you sign off on coddling a Zionist Jew who are practicing blatant and open racism against other Zionist Jews because they're black? Okay? It's not making any sense to me whatsoever. None at all. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Brother Victor and Brother CL. How you guys doing?
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We'll start with we'll start with Victor. Victor, because he hopped on first. What you got for us, bro? Victor, can you hear us?
Yeah, hear me?
The sound is very, very low, man. It's very, very low. Okay, I think Victor his mic has COVID. Okay, we gotta let him figure that out. We'll start with Brother CL and then we'll bring Victor on in a minute when he fixes his stuff. Okay, go ahead, Brother CL. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm enjoying the show, and as soon as I saw the topic, I was like, "Oh man, I gotta tune in to this one, and I might have to jump on."
Yeah,
So
alhamdulillah. I'm very happy you came on, man.
let me just tell you a quick story
Mhm.
about this. What do you mean, guy?
Mm.
And this is true, wallahi.
Mm.
Maybe a few years back, I'm trying to remember when David Wood. He did a video series called "Islamicize Me."
Mm.
It was very controversial because it was very racist
Mm.
and anti-Muslim. He had he's mocking Arabs, mocking Arab speech and clothing, and he was being very disrespectful and downright racist.
Yeah.
And it was him, Robert Spencer,
Mhm.
and this "What Do You Mean" guy, and some other guy from Phoenix, this white rapper turned apologist.
Mm.
But David Wood actually contacted me first
Mm.
to do this. He wanted to, and he was very serious about it. So they invested a lot of money into this series because Robert Spencer has a lot of money.
Mm.
He has, if you want to, one of the individuals who holds the money bag in this whole is Christian apologist, anti-Muslim thing. Robert Spencer is one of the top two. Pamela Geller is the other one. And then there's a whole bunch of other people you probably don't even see, or people don't even see them. They don't even hear their names. But he invited me. He called me personally, asked me to come out to Phoenix. He would fly me out. He was going to flew me out, and and all expense paid and all this other stuff. And he told me, "Oh, it'd be great for your career as a Christian apologist. You get to hang out with Robert Spencer and these other people." And basically everything that "What Do You Mean" does in that video series, that's what they were going to have me do. And he didn't go into detail, but he kind of about the whole mocking and, "Oh, we're going to dress you up like an Arab and blah blah blah," and some other stuff. And I told him, let me think about it. Let me think about it. And I thought about it, and
Mhm.
I think I sent him a text message back like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm good on that."
He's, he I never seen the series, but you're saying that what do you mean? He's dressed up like an Arab and stuff?
Yeah, you can find the video. There's a series of videos by David Wood
Uh-huh.
called "Islamicize Me," and this guy, what do you mean? He's like him and this other. I can't even remember the guy. This
Mm,
white rapper turned apologist.
mm,
They're like, dressed up in thobes and kafaya and
mm,
talking like this, and they're doing
mm.
basically like Arab face type thing,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
where they're mocking the culture,
Mm.
and that's that's how he got his. I never heard of this guy,
Yeah, before
never
that, right?
seen it, and I was plugged into. I was plugged into the Christian apologists. I was a Christian apologist and plugged into the whole thing. Knew all
Mm.
those guys. Never heard of this guy. When I said I wasn't going to do it, David Wood found this guy. I don't know where he
Off
found
the
this guy
street,
from.
and that's what we said. Anybody off the street can do this stuff.
Yes,
You
and
know what
if
I'm saying? It
and
don't really take much, But
and you
go ahead.
notice, and you'll notice if you track the timeline after
Mm,
he did that.
mm.
That's how he got his YouTube
Popping.
platform. That's how he
Hmm.
got popping.
Yeah, that's where it
Exactly.
got popping.
That's how he
Yeah,
got popping. That's how he got
yeah,
popping.
yeah. And this, Christian apologists really they do a lot of silly things, like silly things. But to be a black Christian and pull stunts like this, and believe me, he has worse videos than this, man. Right, but we can't cover all of that, right? I'm talking about
I've
just
never watched this stuff.
yeah, just
Even when I was a Christian, I didn't even watch this stuff.
yeah, yeah. I can't really take too much of the apologetic stuff. It's just like
No, like you said, it's 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 grifting. It's just another.
yes,
It's another. I mean,
it's a
God knows
hustle.
there's so much grifting on YouTube, but it's
Mm,
just another form of grifting.
mm,
Like you say, you can literally grab anybody off the street
mm.
and have them do this stuff because all you got to do is repeat like the same 5 arguments
Yeah,
and use keywords like terrorist and
yeah, yeah.
ISIS
Mm,
and and things like this, and Mohammedanism and all this other
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Use
yeah,
these silly little words. And it doesn't take a whole lot of intelligence
yeah.
to do what these people do,
Mm,
and the audience isn't that intelligent either.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, people have written on the crowd that listens to these people
Mm,
are they suffer from confirmation bias.
mm, mm.
And confirmation bias is when you believe some type of ideology and
Mm.
you only want to listen to what affirms
People
that
who
ideology. And
yeah, exactly.
if somebody affirms that ideology, you'll listen to whatever they have to say and believe whatever they have to say, no
Mm,
matter if they're, you have no way of, you don't care about confirming what if they're saying is true. You don't care about their character. You
mm,
don't care about anything. You just want to hear it confirms what you believe. And if somebody comes with information that contradicts what you already believe, you ignore it or you find a way not to believe in it. You find a way to dismiss it, whatever.
mm,
And then another thing is the Dunning-Kruger effect. The
mm,
Dunning-Kruger
mm.
effect is it shows, basically studies have shown that the more ignorant a person is on the subject, the
They're
more
more smart
confident,
with that.
they
Yeah,
are that they know what they're talking about.
yeah, yeah, yep.
And these guys are absolute. I was just dealing with a guy in my comment section, this
Mm,
Christian, and he's coming with these arguments, and I'm like laughing at this guy, like,
mm.
do you really like, bro? I used to be a Christian apologist. You're talking like ABCs to me. You're not saying
Yes,
anything to me that you think you're, saying something profound to me.
yeah,
You know, like this stuff is easy work. It's easy
yes.
work, and I told him, you know, because I was getting ready to block him, but then I decided to engage with him. I'm like, listen, man, there's 1,000 YouTube videos, there are books, there are articles
Mm,
dealing with what you're talking about right now by
mm,
Muslims and even non-Muslims,
mm,
refuting what you're talking about.
Mhm.
But I'm going to summarize it for you, and I went and summarized it for them.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's motivated. It's not that they dislike Islam; it's that they hate Islam.
Yes.
They hate
Mhm. Yes.
Muslims.
Hmm.
It's a very
And
irrational.
it's an irrational type
It's
hate.
a
It's not
fear
like a.
because it's motivated by fear.
Mhm.
It's motivated by fear. They
Yeah.
fear Islam and they fear Muslims. They fear Islam is going to replace Christianity and Judaism.
Exactly. So, and
Eh,
if you look at the language that they use, you know it's fear because they're not about spreading Christianity at all. They're not. That's
No.
not their goal. Their goal is to prevent people from becoming Muslim. That's
Yes.
it, right?
Yes.
So they're trying to intentionally trying to stop the spread of Islam, right? So yeah, go ahead, brother Sia.
And even they try to pass it off as they're trying to convert Muslims, and it's not really about that. Polemics is for the home team.
Mhm.
When people do this polemic stuff, which is attacking another group or attacking another ideology, it's in order to get your followers not to listen to the other side.
Side, yeah.
Yeah. So it's to reinforce that Dunning-Kruger effect, to
Mhm.
reinforce that confirmation
Confirmation
bias,
bias, yep.
to make sure they don't listen to these Muslims. Don't
Yeah.
read. Don't take the Quran serious. Don't take
Mhm.
the Sunnah serious. Don't
Mhm.
listen to that Tawheed stuff.
Mhm.
You know, we know what we're talking about because they're terrorists and they're all this other stuff.
Mhm.
And like I said, wallahi, when I say this, I heard it. I've had conversations and heard it directly out of the mouths of people like David Wood and Sam Shimon. They don't attend church.
Wow.
They're not.
Wow.
Maybe it's changed. Maybe it's changed since the early
But
2010s.
that's not really that shocking because
It's not. Yeah.
they don't come off as the types that attend church anyways,
No.
right? They
No.
really don't, right? And go ahead, brother CL.
No. I
Go.
was going to say I did a debate with David Wood. He appeared. I was a member of a church
Hmm.
in Michigan, and he came to the church and did some talks, and we both did a debate.
Hmm.
And me, him, the pastor of the church, and another brother in the church who was a young guy. He was in seminary to be a pastor. We
Hmm.
went out, and the pastor asked him directly if he was a member of a church, and he became extremely uncomfortable,
Hmm.
visibly uncomfortable, and somewhat angry because the pastor kept pressing him on this issue about him being a member of a church. Like, if you're going
Church.
to be out here, if he just told him you're going to be out here doing this Christian apologist stuff, shouldn't you be a member of a church?
Yep.
No, he's not the member of a church. Sam Shimon, I heard it directly out of his mouth at
Hmm.
one point that he was not a member of a church. Now, people may know a lot of people do know what happened with him. His
His family
his
situation.
yeah, his family situation
Hmm.
with his wife. So he was I guess teaching in some churches,
Hmm.
and if you know
Yeah.
what happened, you know what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah. So man, these guys are they're not they don't. In fact, a lot of people. I've had a conversations with people in the Dawa scene,
Hmm.
and a lot of people think that David Wood is secretly an atheist.
I believe that. I think I told you that too.
Yeah,
I believe that. I don't think he's Christian. I think he's an atheist, right?
and it
That's
would
what I
make
believe.
sense.
Yeah, and that's why him and apostate prophet they jive so much,
Yeah,
right?
like
Because apostate prophet, like, what in the world is a atheist and a Christian doing talking about
yes,
together?
exactly. Like
It don't.
all the
It's not
people in the
making
world you
sense.
could do it. All the people in the world you would do programs with, you would do it with an atheist.
An atheist, right?
If you're a real Christian,
Mm.
you got the faith, you believe in the gospel, you've been born again, you got the Holy Ghost inside of you, the
Yeah,
whole 9 yards, and you're going
yeah,
to be doing the show with an atheist?
yeah,
That doesn't
yeah.
even make any sense.
It don't make any sense. I can't see myself aligning myself with any other
Like,
group just to go and promote Islam. It don't make no sense to me,
like
right?
would
But
you would you ever do do a show with an atheist to attack
No.
Christianity?
To attack Christianity? No, hell no. That's not making any sense whatsoever. You know, just to attack Christianity? No.
But that shows you the difference between them, and us.
Yes.
There's
Because they are motivated by like what you said, they're motivated
by fear and hatred.
By fear and hatred. That's what motivates them.
Like over in Sweden with the Quran burning incident, there was a Muslim brother who got a permit to burn a Torah and a New Testament.
Oh wow!
He got a permit, and then he got an audience around him. He got the media, and he took the Torah, and the gospel, and said, "I'm not going to burn these today because that would be against my religion."
Wow!
To disrespect these books. So it's basically like a ploy he did, but it shows you the difference between us and them.
Yeah.
They don't have a problem with disrespecting other people's religion. They don't have a problem with trying to just embarrass people, trying to oppress people, trying to destroy people, because Jesus ain't the real motivation.
That's that, right? You said right there is the
white supremacy is the real motivation.
That is facts. That is facts.
And that's the thing this is the thing that the Damascene is getting wrong and missing.
Exactly. When you look at
this is what the Damascene is getting wrong and missing and not speaking on. The real motivation ain't no Holy Ghost.
Yes.
It is white supremacy.
It is white supremacy. It's always been like that. That's the goal of Orientalism to begin with. Right? The reason why they hate Muslims more than they hate Jews, right, is the very same thing that you're talking about. Muslims were in Europe for 800 years. They were ruling Spain, right? Whenever they were going to try to get around the Ottoman Empire, they're heading into Africa, seeing all of these, basically rich Africans. That's where Mansa Musa come from. And the reason why they left Europe to begin with, because of the stories of Mansa Musa and his gold. You know what I mean? There's not a single place where they went to in Africa except that they tried to erase the history, and then they told us that Africans were running around naked in jungles with bones in their noses and spears in their hands, right? When they went to Timbuktu, what did they do to the libraries there? You know what I mean? They raided those libraries. You get me? They raided the libraries in Egypt. They raided, the history of the people and told us that, Africa is just a bunch of savages and cannibals. And meanwhile, Europeans are moving all over Africa, getting rich. Okay, getting rich and living the life, right? But anyways, the point is, Orientalism was one of the big tools that was used in Africa in order to control and divide Muslims from other Africans, right? And that same tool was brought back to Europe, right, to have this idea that Muslims were these type of savages who have harems and all this kind of stuff, right? That's the ideas they brought back.
That's the picture that they created.
Yeah, that's what they created. You know what I mean?
People dressed up like genies and a bunch of selling white women slaves and and all this other stuff.
Exactly. Right. That's what they started. That's how they started off.
And these Christian apologists, guys, that's what they envision Islam to be. Let's not get it twisted. That's what they envision. They envision Islam is if Islam, the picture they paint to America, to the West, when they're doing this polemics and apologetics, if you allow Islam, if Muslims are allowed to just practice their religion, like supposedly the Constitution of the United States of America says, it says that the government should not make any rules delineating a person's religion and not make any restrictions on First Amendment rights. That's the First Amendment: free speech, free religion. They don't think that applies to Muslims. They want it to apply to them. They can establish their religion and they can criticize everybody else's religion. And if you say, "Oh, you're being hateful, or you're being racist," they say, "Well, we have free speech." But they don't want that same right to apply to Muslims.
Yeah, of course.
Muslims don't have a First Amendment right, and Muslims don't have a Second Amendment right, which is the right to bear arms. And that's a whole other conversation. But they try to block these things, and they're spending this. I'm telling you, literally, this is millions of dollars.
Dollars to push this stuff.
Millions of dollars are invested in this whole thing. This one of you mean guy, he's at the bottom of the totem pole. He's at the.
But he's one of the more visible black apologists, right? There are like three of them that I know of. Him and this other guy that's.
And I guarantee you, they all go to white churches.
Yeah. If they go to church.
If they go to church, I guarantee you they go to white church.
If they go to church, and you can tell the apologists are like they're very coonish. They're raccoonish YouTube.
They have. I guarantee you, they have no tie-in with the black community. They don't go
whatsoever.
They don't go to black churches.
Yeah,
I guarantee you. Yeah. I would bet if betting was halal, I would bet you.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what I mean? So that's why it's very easy for them just to dismiss the oppression of human beings because they're Muslim. You know what I mean? They'll just dismiss it. You know what I mean? They will turn a blind eye to the suffering of Palestinian people because they need to push a dogmatic narrative. So to hell with these folks. They're Muslims anyway. They're subhuman. Meanwhile, the people that they're protecting are not just doing that to Palestinians, but are doing similar things to people of their own faith who are black in the same country. And he ain't got no smoke for that.
Of course he does that because he's either ignorant of it, most likely, or because of the again of that confirmation bias, he's either willfully ignorant or he knows about it but is ignoring it.
Yes. You know what I mean? Like when you're looking at these folks, I don't see them as people who have any morals. What's like no moral compass at all. You know what I mean? They have no moral compass at all. They are really about the hustle. And the Christian apologist hustle is probably one of the most simplest.
The whole thing is a hustle. Yeah, first of all, I don't want to offend anybody, but the whole thing is a hustle. Church is a hustle.
Yes, it is.
Church is a hustle. Christianity is a hustle.
Yes.
The whole thing is a hustle. And I know what I'm talking about. I'm not guessing. I'm not speculating. Read my watch my biography. We did 2 shows. I did a show. I got a viral video on YouTube about telling my story. I was inside of it. The whole thing is a hustle. All these pastors and preachers and bishops and apologists and evangelists and aspiring pastors, they are all running a hustle. Because the first thing they do is if they're not tied into it, if they're not ordained in a church as an actual bishop or priest or pastor. So all these Christian apologist guys, none of these guys are ordained. None of these guys are past, except for a few of them. I think James White he's a pastor.
Yeah, I think he's the only one I know who has actually. You and James White were the only ones I knew back in those days that had credentials from the apologist.
And I wasn't ordained.
Yeah.
I wasn't ordained. I wasn't ordained in anybody's church, but I was in seminary, and I did graduate from seminary. But I was not ordained. I didn't have an actual position, even though I did classes and I taught in the church. I didn't have an actual position in the church. I wasn't ordained. But first of all, you got to go to church to have a position. You have to go there. you have to actually attend and go.
Yeah.
None of these dudes, they're not pastors. They haven't been ordained. They didn't go to any seminary or nothing like that. they're self-appointed, and there's a whole entire grifting in it. Even you can see this in the black community.
Mm.
You can rent a storefront, fill out the paperwork for a 501c3 nonprofit corporation, say that it's a church. Anybody can do this. Say it's a church, put a sign on the thing. Now you got a church. You can receive non-tax donations now. And you can start holding services, asking people for tithes and offerings. You don't have to be ordained. You don't have to be a member of some association. You don't have to go to a seminary and have a degree in anything. Anybody can do this. That's why I say the whole thing is a hustle.
Yes. Yes,
and all these guys, you look up the background on all these different Christian apologist guys, they all have 501c3 corporations.
Wow.
Nonprofit charity corporations. That's the hustle.
Yeah, that's
the hustle. That's why this what do you mean guy, he was so quick. Even though I said no, he was quick to jump on the plane and get flued out. He wanted to get flued out by David Wood, and he was down because he knew as soon as he plugged in with David Wood, and as soon as he plugged in with these other guys, he would get a name. He would be able to build his brand by being in these videos, and he will be able to. I guarantee you, bro probably has a 501c3 nonprofit charity organization. They all do. Sam Shimon, all these guys do, and they make their money off of donations. So they get private individual donations from individuals who send them money, and most of that money, it goes into the ether. It's not reported. It's not reported to the IRS, because if I send you some cash money, and you are a Christian apologist or a preacher or a miracle healer or whatever you are, you want to report that to the IRS?
Oh, hell no. Hell no.
You ain't telling the IRS?
Yeah.
If there's no paper trail, you're not telling the IRS. So these guys so a lot of that money is cash, a lot of that money is money orders, cash in hand, hustling.
Now, brother CL, I'm glad you came on actually, because this is your.
Hold on. Let me say this one thing.
Go ahead.
Like I said, individual donations, but then there's institutional donations.
That is big.
That's where the real money comes from.
Yeah, that's where the real money. And now you're talking like special interests even.
Yes.
You're getting into that
groups.
Stuff. Yeah, yes. Interest groups. Yeah, special interest groups. Right. That's a different ballgame altogether. Right. Which leads me to my next question for you.
Okay.
Right, which is apologetics is gathering steam because, in my opinion, I'm going to let you guess what my opinion is.
Well, I think I have to disagree that it's gathering steam, but I think it's on the decline. But it's on the decline heavily.
Yeah.
It's on the.
But what is keeping it afloat?
Because you have YouTube and you have Twitter or X or whatever it's called now, and anybody can get on social media and open up a platform and start talking. All you need is a camera and a microphone.
I'm glad you said that, because there are these groups now, not these groups, but all these, like YouTube has become a cesspool of basically the most despicable characters coming out and speaking out for Muslims or Christians, right? We had a situation recently on Valuetainment, okay, where people I never heard of in my life, okay, I ain't ever heard of in my life, but they are now made popular to the Muslims, and the Muslims again are making these folks go viral. You get me? In my opinion, apologetics cannot survive without the participation of Muslims.
I agree. Because before I left Islam, I had no idea who David Wood and Sam Shimon were until the Muslims told me about it.
Wow. Wow. Wow, that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
I heard about
Even,
it through Muslims.
even me, I didn't know who they were either, right? Until I started, watching these debates or whatnot, and then they're debating this guy and that guy, and like, I don't know, I didn't understand why they were a thing, right? But apparently they were a thing. But they became a thing because of these debates.
Hmm.
You get me? And it's a symbiotic relationship
Yes, it
where
is.
these Muslims who are looking to get a name for themselves, they need these apologetics, and they build each other up. You get me? Even Daniel Hakikuchi, right? He himself, I never really knew who he was. The only video I watched of his from beginning to the end was his debate with apostate prophet, right? And that's how I got his meeting. And then, ironically enough, that's how apostate prophet became, I think, because that same debate, right? So it's a symbiotic relationship. You get me,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now you're seeing like a bunch of these characters. You're seeing like you heard this guy, the Muslim metaphysicist,
Yeah, I know.
whatever.
I know.
Yeah, that dude. You have, of course, Hagikuchu. I don't think he himself. He's like the Muslim answer to Christian apologetics. You get me?
Mm-hmm.
He's running around doing pretty much the same thing that they do, right? I don't think he has a masjid that he attends. Okay, though he gets invited the masjid to speak. All right, I don't think
Now
he.
that you said that,
Mm. Go ahead.
I'm not going to say it on air. I think we got it out there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that one on air.
Okay, you have to think about that one, right?
I'm just going to say that it's odd that some of the behavior of
Mm,
some of the Muslim apologists
mm.
seems to mirror some of the uncouth behavior of the Christian
Christian,
apologists.
yeah. It's leshek, it's no doubt.
Yeah, it's almost a reaction. So
Mm,
people like David Wood
mm,
behave the way they behave,
mm,
and he's a psychopath,
mm,
ex-criminal who
mm,
grew up in a trailer home.
mm.
Um, he behaves the way he behaves, and now you have Muslims who are apologists who are cracking bad jokes and making
Yeah.
very
Off
off
color.
colored,
Yeah.
off colored, rude kind of
Mm,
this we talked about this, but this kind of like weird gamer
mm.
4chan 8chan type of
Speech,
incel
yeah.
humor, like this,
Yeah.
like it's like a white college guy humor, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Now, admittedly, I have some colorful language I use as well, but I'm not in the Dawa spaces. You get me? I'm
Yeah.
not out here, and when I'm making Dawa, I would never, ever think to use language like that when I'm
But some of the stuff I see them doing is even
mm,
different than just being off color. It's a certain type of vibe. It's a certain
yeah,
type of
yeah.
it's a certain type of humor that
Yeah,
appeals to a
it's
certain
like
type of
they're
person.
mimicking other folks that they heard and just presenting it
Yes.
as Islamic.
Because of beside that like I said, this behind this is not Jesus, it's white supremacy. The money for this Christian apologist stuff comes from the alt right.
Mm,
Let's get that let's put that on the table. The money is in the alt right.
mm,
They are just the spokespeople, and I can prove that.
mm.
That can be proven, and has been proven.
Yeah,
Um, David Wood's uh, uh, um, David Wood, there are articles all over the internet about him and his relationship to Pamela Geller
mm,
and Richard Spencer. Because I said at the top of the food chain in the Christian apologetics is Robert Spencer and Pamela Geller.
mm,
Pamela Geller is a multi-millionaire.
mm,
She's a multi-millionaire, big money.
mm,
You can read her her bio. Actually, in a number of different places, but I think it's what is it? On Wikipedia. You can read her Wikipedia entry, and it talks
Mm.
about she had a rich husband. She
Mhm.
divorced him, got multiple millions of dollars.
Mhm.
She had property from him, sold
Mhm.
that, got millions of dollars. Then he died, and then she got millions of dollars.
More millions of dollars.
And as soon as she got all that money, that's
Mhm.
when she became who she is now.
Mm.
In the alt right, because she's definitely in the alt right,
Mhm.
and she took David Wood under her wing,
Mhm.
and she linked up with Richard Spencer, and they're Buster buddies. They've written books together. They've got organizations that they founded together,
Mm.
organizations that are classified by by civil rights and hate group monitoring organizations as hate groups
There you go.
in America and in Europe
Yep.
and across the world. Links with Hindu nationalists,
Oh wow, that's crazy.
links with Hindu nationalists and white nationalists in America and Europe.
And I don't know how long you watching the live, but I did mention before that the Hindutva of
Mhm.
India, there's not a dictator they haven't met that they don't like, except for China, because they're bordering them, right? Right. But and there is a strong push, and I said this before on my channel. I'll go say it again. There's a strong push for alt right leadership internationally, and
Mm.
many countries are being their affairs are being messed with internally to
That's all
make
right.
sure that they have alt right governments,
Yeah.
right? So, and this happened is happening in Canada. It's happening in Canada. It's happened in the States, right?
France,
Is
Spain,
France now
Germany.
is alt right. Spain is alt right. The day before, was it New Zealand? She got their first alt right leadership,
Mm.
right? This is a global phenomenon, right? We
Mhm.
have over here in Canada. I'm not sure if you heard, but the Hindu government
Mhm.
has assassinated a Canadian citizens
I saw
in,
that. I saw that.
Canada.
Yep. I
In
saw that.
Canada. Okay.
I saw
Right?
that.
That's how much interference is going on from foreign entities in Western countries. Right? We've seen the China spy balloons or whatnot in the
Mhm.
States, in Canada, right? And they have their own Chinese network of police stations in Western countries operating as Chinese police stations. Right?
Yep.
So they want right leaning governments because they want dictatorships because dictators, of course,
Yeah.
basically,
Fascism.
yeah, they're the ones who get the money moving for the aristocrat society, whatever, right?
And
The
that's
oligarch
exactly what
system.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
These guys like David Wood, what do you mean, Sam
Mm,
Shimon, these other
mm,
these online the personalities
yeah.
are not the ones that run stuff. They don't have the real money. They
Yeah.
get paid by these charities and these organizations.
Yes. So they
They're
can.
funded by them. So
Yes.
there's a whole nother group of people you don't see, you don't
Yes.
hear,
Mm,
that fund these people
mm,
that they're getting their donations from, so they can
yes.
say that's why they have the best equipment. That's why they can
Mm,
jump on airplanes. Why you think they jumping on airplanes, going over here, filming over here, filming over there,
mm.
doing all this other stuff that takes money.
Yeah, and why you think I'm sitting here in my house in the dark with my messed up afro, wearing headphones on my head and a mic in front of me? Right? I can't use the mic even on my headphone. I just got the mic down here for optics. It's not even on. I'm using completely different. Why? Because I'm dusty and broke. Because I'm out here telling the truth. Okay.
I'm gonna give you an organization you should look up, and
Yeah.
anybody else want to listen. Stop SIOA.
SIOA. 1 second. Let me
Stop
spell it.
Islamization of America.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
That's an organization that was
That's
founded by
right.
Pamela Geller
Mm-hmm.
and Robert Spencer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's crazy, man. Yeah. That's crazy.
and
Okay,
it's
brother.
not
See, I'm gonna let you get the last words in there. We'll call it a night. I got to work tomorrow.
okay. So there's they founded a group called Stop Islamization of America. Then they got offshoot groups. They got a Stop Islamization of Europe, and they got Stop Islamization of international. And the one that Stop Islamization of international, they're linked up with far right groups all over the world, and like I said, the Hindu nationalists as well. That are part of that group. What else? Is there some other information I wanted to throw out there before you left? There's a whole bunch of other stuff. They are linked up with all types of another source of funding that these guys got were from the big Christian televangelist networks. So like CBN, Christian Broadcasting Network, TBN, Trinity Broadcasting Network, that own. I mean, they got multi-millions of dollars. They own television stations all around the world. In America, they got satellites. Because when I was with ABN, the Aramaic Broadcasting Network, they linked up with the Trinity Broadcasting Network. Trinity Broadcasting Network dropped a couple of million on them.
Oh, wow.
They dropped a couple of million on them.
How can I become a Christian apologist, bro?
They took that money. They set up studios. They had forget YouTube. They had fully functional studios. With hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment and cameras, like NBC or CBS,
like
or
a
ABC.
proper setup.
Yeah. And they were beaming this it is beamed all across the world. They even beam it directly into the Muslim lands.
Wow.
They were beaming that content directly into the Muslim lands, and the top name televangelists, whoever you want to think about it, they were funding it. They were giving the money. So money comes from them and the alt-right. They're all linked together.
And what you got to understand is that I keep saying it that the alt-right, or the whatchamacallit, the right-leaning part of the political spectrum, these conservatives or whatnot, if you're looking at left to right, that's not the correct way to look at it. You have to look at it in terms of north and south, right? You have to look at it in terms of north and south. And this system got basically copy and pasted throughout the Western world, right? Because it started in America, this type of democratic system. It literally started there and then branched out to other places, right? But it's a north-south thing where what we know as Republicans, that's that old money. That's the money from slavery, from basically stolen land and whatnot, right? And they want to conserve that old type of living, right? And the liberals and the left leaning, that's the north, right? That's the basically the people who are trying to get their power through political means, right? The white folks are trying to get their power through political means. How do you do this? Through inclusion, right? So you got to remember, the Republicans first were in the north, and the Democrats were in the south.
Yep.
And that switched during the civil rights era because of black folk, right?
Yep.
The Democrats, they did not want to give up the civil rights to black people, so they switched. They went to Republicans. Republicans became Democrats. It all switched up. It got turned upside down, and that's why we see the Democrats as a left-right thing right now. But it's really a north-south thing, right? It's old money versus political and legal progress and control, right?
Yep.
So all that old money is funding these groups right now. You get me? Because they're trying to hold on to power. They're seeing immigration as a threat. They're seeing, the more numbers coming into, these Western countries is a threat to their power. Yeah.
Which was Frances Cress Wilson. She was the original person that discovered that concept.
Yes.
She doesn't get the credit.
Yes, she really doesn't. And she was like way ahead of her time.
Yes.
Way ahead of her time, right? And we're seeing it very clearly now, right? She's the one who said about the white genetic annihilation. What are white folks talking about today? they're talking about what you will call it, the Great Replacement theory,
Yep.
which is white genetic annihilation. Right?
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
They don't care. They don't care. They appear to care about Islam itself
Mm,
coming in and replacing Jesus worship.
mm,
But that's not the real thing. That's
mm,
not the real thing that they fear.
mm.
The Jesus worship is just a manifestation of what they perceive as European culture.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Well,
know,
well said. Yeah, well
exactly.
said. Yeah, exactly.
So, and another thing that if people want to research this, they look up those groups and some other groups as well, like Black Identity,
Mm,
BLOC, Black
mm,
Identity, which is another European far right
mm,
organization. And here in America, they have one of the things that in the ways that that money is manifested is they have promoted and funded stopping masjids from being built.
mm,
So anywhere that you have seen in America where people were trying to build a masajid
mm,
and people came out protesting, or it may not even be in the form of protest. And this is happening. I've seen this happen here in Michigan
mm.
multiple times, where they'll stop the building of a masjid, or the masjid gets built, they won't let them use it. They'll come with code violations. They'll
There
come
you go.
with
Yeah,
or they'll people will try to stop them from getting a permit to open the building.
yeah.
Or
This is the same thing that did with black folks.
exactly. That
Exactly
stuff
the same thing.
is funded by the alt right.
Exactly the same thing to do with black folks. That's the strategy. We keep saying the black struggle is the Muslim struggle, but we ain't begging y'all anymore. Y'all can keep.
But see, now they all on YouTube acting like they understand. They got a Negro wake
Yeah,
up
they
call.
now they want to quote Malcolm X. They want to quote
Yeah,
Malcolm
now
X
they
now.
quote
Yeah.
Malcolm X. And
Yeah.
they got a tam hanging to the
Yeah,
side. They
yeah.
got their fist up like this. They don't
Yeah.
join. Everybody done join the Black Panthers now.
Yeah. All right, family. I apologize for my messed up afro. I don't know what the heck is going on in my hair. Bad hair day. But I want to thank my guest, Brother CL. We couldn't get Brother Victor on. His phone got COVID, right? But I want to thank everybody to join me today. And I think we're coming on Wednesday, inshallah. So I'll see you guys on Wednesday, inshallah. All right. Salaam Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah bless you all. Don't forget to wake up early before Fajr and pray for the Ummah, pray for your families, and pray for yourselves. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.